Hey, welcome back everyone to yet another Kenny Robinson YouTube video. If you're new to my channel, I upload all sorts of videos on passive income, stock market investing, entrepreneurship, personal finance, all sorts of business ventures that I actively operate in. In this particular video, we're going to discuss one of the most overlooked retirement risks that will impact quite a few of us. So without further ado, let's begin. So before we begin, I'd like to give a big shout out to Shane, here's his screen name here, for consistently supporting the channel as well as being one of the most active members in my private group. So thank you, Shane, so much for all your support, consistent support and consistent input and different ideas and comments. Thank you so much. Another person I'd like to thank is someone that I'll open this here towards the end of the video. I got this in my P.O. box. My address is in the description below. Whatever I get that's related to the YouTube channel, I'll always open here in the video. So we'll open that towards the end of the video and we'll see exactly what it is. So in today's video, unfortunately, and I'll just say this right off the bat, unfortunately this subject in this video is one of my more important videos, but it'll probably be one of the least watched videos. Probably because it's not a very exciting video subject and it's not relatable for a lot of people, but unfortunately 7 out of 10 of us are going to have to deal with this type of issue. So let's just get into it. One of the most overlooked risks for retirement is long-term care, the cost of long-term care. And already I can guarantee, and I'm going to look at my stats after this video is uploaded, how many people dropped off after I said long-term care, especially people probably younger, around my age, where that's such a foreign idea to consider planning for long-term care in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever it is, because it's so far down the road and it's really not a fun subject, right? It's like talking about funerals and things like that, but it's one of the biggest risks that a lot of people overlook. And unfortunately, you know, all the other risk videos that a lot of people do on here has to do with different stock market things and all sorts of, you know, monetary risks. But what about the cost of long-term care? This is what's going to bend people over in retirement, including me, unless I prepare, which I've set up another video and I'm going to show you exactly my strategy for how I'm preparing for the cost of long-term care. So what is long-term care? Well, a variety of services, both medical and non-medical, designed to assist those with a chronic illness or temporary injury that cannot care for themselves, right? So if you get injured, and you might not have all the family support you need at that point in your life, and you can't do some of the daily living activities, maybe preparing your meals, maybe help cleaning your household, whatever it may be, or you might need an actual medical facility to stay in just for a temporary amount of time. Well, a lot of times Medicare will not cover that, right? And so you have to come out of pocket for some exorbitant expenses that you may have not calculated into your normal retirement distribution planning, right? And so I bet you, like I said, a lot of people have probably dropped off by now because this video, again, is not that exciting. But again, it's going to apply to a lot of us. So unfortunately, a lot of people my age are not going to plan for it, which is why hopefully they're still watching and they'll get some value out of this video. Here are the facts. I'm not going to state the specific sources. I'm just going to drop all that in the description. So here are the facts. Less than a third of Americans age 50 and above have begun saving for long-term care. That is scary. 70% of people, 70% of Americans age 65 or older can expect to need some form of long-term care in their lifetime. Now, this is a stat I've known for several years. It's been interesting. I had a very wise person about almost 40 years my senior sit down with me one day and told me to plan for this and really convinced me on the importance of planning for this. And I'll admit at the time, I was kind of a little bit, you know, somewhere else in my thinking, but as I see it more and more with people in their 70s needing different forms of long-term care, it really kind of turned on the light bulb. And again, even older individuals watching this, don't you wish you could sometimes go back 10, 15 years and do things slightly different?
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious
or maybe concentrate more on certain things in your life. And so you tell younger individuals that, but they don't always take your word for it. Well, hopefully, again, younger individuals are getting some value out of this video, but that's 7 out of 10. So 7 out of 10 of us here in America that reach age 65 are going to need some form of long-term care. A lot of times when I speak about this, a lot of people tell me, oh yeah, but I have a great extensive family. They're always around. I'll never need help like that. Well, 30, 40 years go by, family dynamics change. People move across the country for job opportunities, different things. So yeah, that's great. I come from a great family too. That's awesome. We can all plan on having their help. But what if that's not there? Do you want to be miserable later on in life because you can't afford the proper care for yourself? So on average, again, the links are in the description, on average it costs about $7,000 a month for a semi-private room in a long-term care facility. And again, we're not saying that you're just going to go to a nursing home forever and die off there, but what's very interesting is 7 out of 10, basically 7 out of 10 people age 65, on average will need 3 years of various long-term care services. So maybe that's some in-home physical therapy, maybe that's going to a facility for maybe 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is. And again, Medicare will cover a very short-term stay at some of these facilities or very little of the balance of a lot of this stuff. So again, this is a reality for a lot of people, although for whatever reason, it's like, oh, that's not going to be me. I'm going to be part of the 30% that doesn't need it. I'm healthy, whatever it is, unfortunately, right? Like people that text on their cell phone when they drive and all the amounts of wrecks, oh, can't happen to me. But then they go and buy a lottery ticket where the odds are, obviously almost zero. And they say, oh, you never know, I could win, right? So it's that flawed thinking that this doesn't apply to me, I don't need it, right? And so a lot of people, again, don't plan for it, but then it ruins their retirement because they fall or they have an issue that has to drain their IRA because they have some medical expenses. So with that being said, also a lot of times what we forget about is we're all gonna probably live longer than we think on average, right? Because who knows the medical advances that we're gonna have 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. So what we've seen though in medical sciences, we've been able to figure out how to make the body last longer, but not the mind. So there's a lot of things that can play into later on in retirement, where if you have the money to make your life a lot more comfortable, it can mean the difference in a much larger, a better quality of life in retirement. So you're likely going to live longer than you think. So how do we tackle this issue? Well, there's long-term care insurance, but what I found is it's very, very expensive. Not only that, is the premiums can also skyrocket. It's not really a set price from all the research that I've done. So a lot of times you're almost better off just saving that money and investing it, just accounting for it extra. So I just did this quick calculation, $125 a month for a 30-year-old. By the time he or she is age 65, if they average a 7% return, they'll have about $150,000. Again, that's not taking taxes into account. That's also not taking inflation into account. So this is how serious of an issue this is you really have to start saving now, younger individuals, and if you're on the doorstep of retirement, really, consider rethinking your retirement distributions and your income needs, and make sure that you have some form of long-term care expenses or extra medical expenses priced in. So again, in a future video, I'm going to share what I have set up for myself for long-term care expenses if I were to need them. And if I don't need them, fine, I'll just spend the money in other retirement activities. So this is something that people might as well save for. If you don't need it, great. Use the money for something else. And so again, this is something that is often overlooked. It's not fun. People like to play that, oh, it probably won't happen to me card. Or, younger individuals, again, it's so unrelatable. It's such a foreign idea to think about 40 years into the future, I'm going to need some form of long-term care. They'd much rather talk about other subjects that are more relatable and more, in front of their face. But again, as time goes by, we lose that opportunity to save. So hopefully this video maybe piqued your interest of hopefully somewhat planning for that way, way, way in the future day when you might need some form of long-term care. Have you already planned for this? I'd love to hear your plan for long-term care in the comments below. I think this is a subject that if a lot of us start talking about it in the comment section below, a lot of us can share different ideas and advice on how we can best prepare for this. So thank you so much for watching. And before we go, I'm going to open this up, and I've pre-cut it a little bit just so I wouldn't take forever opening the package here. And let's see, we got a card with a dog on it. Look at that. That's awesome. And again, the address is in the description below. It says, "What's up, Kenny? Love the YouTube channel. Keep up the great work. Your pal, Wally." Awesome. Thank you so much for the card. I'm going to set that on my desk here. And what else do we have? What is this, I wonder? Ah, very cool. It says the City Supply Company. So let's check this out. Maybe I'll put a link in the description below to them. Let me open this up. High quality shirt, I can tell already, which is nice. Established 1974, the City Supply Company, San Francisco, New York. Awesome, look at that. Very cool. It's my perfect size and everything. Awesome, thank you so much. Appreciate it, City Supply Company. I'll drop a link in the description below. Thank you so much. Always appreciated, guys. Cards, letters, different things like this. Very, very cool. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I upload all sorts of videos that you might find value in. So again, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next video.